what's put out on the field of play, on a football field, huge talent, great games, championship games, relegation games. The talent needs to be identified out there from, your backroom coaching staff. And there's a massive scouts out there, talent ID representatives for various clubs across the globe. And I want to find out what some of the top level clubs and also what some of the academies do out there. So on today's show, and welcome everybody, on today's show we have a talent ID scout and a academy director from ProSoccerGlobal Global. I'll let our guest today explain everything that he does behind the scenes for that talent. So Jimmy Hayes, welcome to Sport in Denver, mate, and thank you for your time, my friend. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, Rich. Yeah, I'm well, as well as can be, obviously, with everything else what's going on in the world at the moment. But yeah, fingers crossed, things are improving. So hopefully, we'll be back out there soon enough.
We met up about a year ago and just talking, two blokes talking football, the male and female side of the game. So what do you do right now, Jim, currently? I know we've gone through COVID, but what are you doing right now currently? And we'll backtrack later into how you got there. What's up now, Jim?
Yeah, do you mean actually right now while COVID's on, or pre-COVID, where I've come from, and been up to?
Yeah, let's look at what you're doing right now in your talent ID, your scouting, who for, Jim, and what it's currently looking like.
Yeah, so I'm a academy scout at Manchester City. Love it, work around some amazing people. It's a fantastic club. It really is. Some great people right across, the club, from obviously from the first team, Coach Pep, to right through the staff, all around the first team, and then right through the academy as well. There's a couple of guys who I work underneath, Trevor and Darren, who are just, brilliant, fantastic people, really, really are. They look after a lot of the local recruitments, as we'd call it, in the academy. So yeah, primarily my role is to go out and watch kids play football and hopefully, spot a kid who's got maybe some talent, and then, complete an assessment and then make a recommendation, to the academy, and, fingers crossed, get the kid in there and get him on trial.
So you as that talent ID scout officer, responsibilities for that. How do you go about that, Jim? Do you just go and watch games randomly? Do you get a word of mouth from mates or friends, or does it come from the club, Jim? How do you get out there to go and identify that, mate?
Yeah, there's probably a couple of ways, Rich, really. I mean, what you've just explained is a way. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you'll know, you originally, you was born in England. So, pretty much every Saturday and Sunday, there's kids playing football non-stop everywhere from, 9 a.m. in the morning right through to the early evening. Local leagues, we call it grassroots, maybe, club soccer, possibly, in the US. So I could quite often go out and watch kids, from 9 a.m. in the morning right through the afternoon on a Saturday, maybe on a Sunday as well. See whether I can spot some talent, unearth some talent who's actually playing grassroots. And also, the club can ask me to then, go and pick up a game as well, a game that they've identified that there may be one or two players worth looking at. That's how it works.
Would you do a match, like a game analysis on a player? Let's say, we just turned up, local park, doing what we're doing. Kid stands out, young person stands out, whatever age it is, Jim. What do you do on that note process, and how would you follow that up? Because, one game doesn't make you, the world's greatest player. So how does your process work for you, Jim, on that first contact?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's all relevant to age groups, mate. So it depends, what age group you'd be looking at. If you're looking at a player who's probably, I don't know, 8, 9, 10, then you're going to be looking at things differently than you was going to probably look at someone who's maybe 11, 12, 13. And then if you go
Right.
to 14, 15, 16, obviously you're going to be looking for something different there. But I mean, first and foremost, I'll always look at technical ability. One of the main things for me, if you're technically good, and you can see something technically, but then that's a start. I mean, I've went out and watched, and then, I've picked up kid, just because of athleticism, kid because of his character. I mean, character is massively important. So it's just something, Rich, that'll always catch your eye. You think, hey, that was good. What they've just done there is really good. And then you get to start watching. You do as an assessment, and then, like you said, Rich, you'd always go back and watch again.
So it's like the light bulb goes off. So there's a little bit of
Mm.
further investigation on that, and it's the whole package. You mentioned character about the player, and I know there's, always going to be, certainly at the younger age that you deal with on occasions, Jim. Do you assess I know it's a difficult one. Do you assess the family sort of scenario as well, without going into personal details, because that's not where we're going to go, but do you look at the package, with a brother or a sister, and what the mum and dad are like, just to generate that bubble for that player to evolve, Jim?
You know what? I think before a kid will be signed at an academy, I don't think there would be a massive amount of that. I mean, it's all on the player. So your focus is going to be the player, whether that player's got enough talents that you think, well, you know what, that can be developed. I mean, it's all about potential, right, isn't it? And if you think that can be potential, because obviously when you're getting coached, hopefully then the coaches are going to improve you. Now, as you go through the academy, then it would be more around that. It's not better to have a player who's from a settled background, good parents, good education, and everything else. So, I mean, character is important, Rich, because, football's not easy. So, you've got to be able to, take the knockbacks as well, or, if you get knocked down, you've got to be able to get up and show character and resilience and self-belief. So,
yeah, I know, working in the system way back when, Jim's, and we always try to, you sign that boy or girl, and the whole family does then, at that point, Jim, is it with you and City and what you do, just to make sure everybody's on the same page? Look, this is what we're going to do for your daughter. Can you enlighten on how that sort of evolves, so everybody's on the same page, Jim?
Yeah, City's a fantastic club in the way they deal with the players, from a young age. I mean, it's incredible. They have a real focus on fun, especially at a young age. I mean, they create an environment where the players absolutely love it. They can't wait to come in. They can't wait to get involved. The coaching's, I mean, obviously it's amazing, the fantastic coaching there. And then they create that environment, and they take it right through, and they take the families through with it, they take the parents, through it, and it just goes through in stages right throughout the academy, until you get to under 16. And then obviously when you get to under 16, the next, part is basically I don't know how you'd probably term it in the US, but we call it a scholarship. It's 2 years. You're basically you're on the cusp of being a professional, basically. So you are like a professional. You come in every day pretty much, and you're treated like that from 16 to 18. And then hopefully, you get yourself a pro contract. There's an amazing. Sorry, Rich. Yeah, there's an amazing amount of work that goes on, from a young age right the way through. And I think City is an amazing family club in the way that you can go in there and there's no airs and graces. It's a massive club, Premier League champions, and doing really well this year. But it's a really, really good club to be at.
I know the way you operate. I've done a bit of background work and
Mm,
listened to you as we talked over a period of time, Jimmy. And I did put on, the headlines for this show is, what you get with, with Jimmy. You get not just the talent ID, but you get more. Now, I know you're on the front line. You're the first point of contact, mate, for that
mm,
club, which is
mm,
unbelievable, in that
mm,
when you get the kids in. I know that you take certain personal interest with the players that you bring into your club, and
mm.
you create that family environment. Does that come from when you were starting as a youth and trying to get into that higher level of a pro club, Jim?
Mm.
Is that what you bring to your process for those younger players?
Yeah, I suppose it is. Rich. Obviously, I wasn't good enough, unfortunately, to go pro. Wanted to. Obviously, everybody's dream, especially in this city where I'm born, Liverpool, is to play professional football. So I wasn't, quite good enough. I love football. As I've said to you previously, I'm a massive Liverpool fan. I mean, how crazy is that? I work for City as an academy scout, but I'm an
I get it,
absolute
mate.
yeah, I'm a huge Liverpool fan. So yeah, I've been, brought up all around football, and you know what? There's a lot of really, really, there's morals and values within football that you've got to hold. So right throughout my, playing days, and then as a coach, and then scouting, and obviously, the charity we've got in Ghana, and Pro Soccer Global. Yeah, I bring that all along, because that's how I see football. Football is a fantastic way of learning so many skills that can help you through life, for me.
And that's you brought up morals and values, and that's where you come in. I know you do, because I've spoke to people as well, Jimmy, and you provide that. And not just in that the Man City environment, but with PSG, which is Pro Soccer Global. Just want to make that
Mm,
clear, which is also that talent identification for those players as well.
mm.
How does that work, Jim? Are they slightly older players that you're looking to help progress into that scholarship environment? And I know you work pretty much across the globe, Jim. So how
Mm.
does the Pro Soccer Global system work, and aligning with your scouting system?
Yeah, so I mean, I've always been involved in football. I've always, been involved either as a coach, as a youth team player, as a coach, um,
Yeah.
obviously as an academy scout, and then I started Pro Soccer Global a number of years ago. By bringing actually a group of kids over from Atlanta, actually Georgia, through a friend who had met at Sporting Lisbon. Believe it or not, I was at Sporting Lisbon for a while in Portugal, so my son was on trial there. I spent a little bit of time there. It was an amazing experience, and I met an American guy there whose son, the goalkeeper, was on trial. So he told me he had a really, some great players, out in Georgia, at Atlanta, and I said, well, bring them over to the UK, and I'll organise some games. He said, well, what do you mean? I said, so, well, I've got good contacts, I'm in football, so bring them over. So I had started like that, Rich, really. So that's what we did. We played, Aston Villa, Stoke, Everton, a couple of other clubs and whatever. The kids were brilliant. So
Right.
that's how Pro Soccer Global started. And some of them kids, even then, I'm talking about, God, that's a number of years ago. George Bello was one of the kids. He plays for Atlanta now. Great player. I think George was 13 at the time when he came over. A couple of kids who were there as well, out in Denmark. A lads in Belgium at a Premier club in Belgium as well. So yeah, Pro Soccer Global. We do it. There's two different parts to it, Rich. Firstly, like you said, we are global. We've got Pro Soccer Global Canada. We've got Pro Soccer Global Hungary. We've got Pro Soccer Global Malaysia. Excuse me. Um, we've got obviously Pro Soccer Global in the UK, and we've got Pro Soccer Global Ghana as well in Africa. So yeah, we're expanding all the time. We collaborate with some amazing people all over the world. What we do is there's two parts. We either do a tour, for teams. So,
Sure.
like a team, from the US, or, I don't know, anywhere in the world, China, South Korea, Australia, wherever they may be, they can come to us. We'll assess their ability, and then we'll set up a tour. We'll design a tour that suits them. And then we took it the next step, Rich, which was the talent ID. And because I'm heavily into talent ID through the scouting, we set up in Hungary a talent ID in Budapest, beautiful city, by the way. And what we did is we assessed under 10s, under 12s, under 14s, under 16s, and under 18s over a week, brought them all in with Gabor Takas, fantastic, Gabby and Andy out in Budapest, two amazing people, steeped in football in Hungary. And then we assessed them, we completed an assessment on them, a proper assessment as well, really detailed assessments, identified players, and then brought them over to the UK, set up academy games for the 5 different age groups. And some of them kids have done really well. You know, some of them kids, well, obviously you had one on the screen before. He's Aston Villa goalkeeper now. You know, he's a young professional, still starting out.
Didn't he get he got a game a couple of weeks back, right, Jim?
Yeah, he played against my team, Rich, in the FA Cup. He played. He played.
I know.
He
That's
did.
why I brought Jimmy.
Yeah, he played. He played against Liverpool in the FA Cup. Yeah, he's a lovely lad. He really is, and he's got a great character about him. And you know what? If he continues the hard work that he's been putting in for a number of years, then fingers crossed, Rich. You know, he'll kick on, and he'll end up having a great career.
I know the result didn't go his way. It went your way, mate. I know the result didn't go his way.
Yeah.
And if you look at the result, you go, "Oh dear." But I did follow up on it and read that he had an absolutely tremendous game. Was very highly praised, well. Jimmy. Does that give you something to say? Yeah, nice one, nice one.
Yeah, it does, Rich. It does. But then you know what? For me, talent ID and scouting, it's all about, when you do that, it's at the time, and it's all about developments, so sometimes, we do talent ID camps, and we go from young age groups. We're doing one in New Jersey at the weekend. Well, I'm not, but we've got one in New Jersey at the weekend. So we'll assess these kids, and then we'll hope that, no matter what we do when we bring them over either to the UK to play academies or take them over to Europe, Spain, Germany, wherever we take them, that they'll understand that experience of what an elite environment's like. Now, there may be players in the group that we bring over who could be at that level. There may be players who are at even higher level. But the thing is what you've got to do at all ages, if you've got to continue to develop. So you could be a really, really talented 14-year-old, but you've also then got to develop into a talented 16-year-old, a talented 18-year-old. You've just got to work hard and fulfill your potential, for me. And that's the main thing, working hard to fulfill your potential.
And I think we both know, Jim, that development takes place in many different stages, right? In those age groups. Have you had a player that's just completely, maybe you've had a look at them, Jim, and they could have been on your doorstep or around the country, and then all of a sudden, 14, yeah, not bad. 16, wow. Has that ever happened to you, Jim?
Yeah, you know what, Rich? A couple of times I was in a tournament in Sheffield a number of years ago. I went up to watch. It was because I helped a lad in Liverpool play for Sheffield Wednesday Academy. So I knew somebody down there, so I managed to get him a little guest spot, and he was playing in a tournament in Sheffield. So it goes down, and there's clubs there, who are playing, Premier League academies and academies actually from different countries, a couple of them from around the world. And there was a kid from Celtic playing called Dembele, and Karamoki Dembele. Oh, bloody hell. I was like, what? I think he must have been, it was an under 14 tournament. He may have been 12 or 13 at the time. And he was only diminutive in size, but oh, what a player. I was taken aback by watching him, just stood on the sidelines going, oh, this kid can play. And obviously he's doing quite well at Celtic. He's going to break through, I'm sure. And hopefully, he could really kick on and be a real star.
One to look out for. So light bulb went off, and
But then, can I just say as well, and then on the other side of it, then I'm out watching kids in grassroots, obviously in Liverpool. One Saturday morning, I think it may have been under eights. I just ended up watching it under sevens or under eights games, and there was a twin girls. It was a co-ed game, so there was boys and girls in the same team. So I watched the game, and these two girls, I was like, God, these girls can play. So I ended up going back a couple of weeks and watching them a couple of times, and they were exceptional for their age. Really, really were. So luckily I managed to get them an opportunity at City to go in on trial, and they're playing for the under 10s at the moment at the academy, and that was fantastic to see. Yeah, two great. And
go on, Jim.
I was just going to say, and Paul, the dad, really nice guy, great guy. Loves the girls, loves what's happening at City. They developed amazingly, and they're doing really well, and they're loving it there as well, which is the main thing.
It's brilliant, Jim. You've got that balance. I've seen them on Instagram as well. They are talented young ladies, and it's nice that balance that you're out there. You've got a couple of lads going. You got the girls involved. If you come across a player, Jim, obviously you're trying to bottleneck it for City. I get that. And you're helping, develop players with ProSoccerGlobal, Talent ID. If you come across a player, Jim, that's maybe not quite at that standard, but would flourish at maybe a lower level to develop, would you pass that player on to, another scouting colleague from another club, mate?
Yeah, as a scout, you'd have a network. You have a network of guys who you speak to. I know a lot of scouts from different clubs, right across the northwest, actually, and scouts out in Europe as well. And you do have conversations all the time. Every time I'm out scouting, I'll bump into scouts from different clubs, and we'll chat about different players. If I thought there was a player not at the level that I thought would probably be, I would be able to take into City, then I wouldn't have a problem speaking to a colleague and a person I know from another club and say, listen, go and take a look, because he may be the right person for your club, and that's what happens. And one of the beauties about City though is that City will always give opportunities, because it's very difficult to get in an academy like City's, because you have got to really be at a very good level. But they will take their scouts' recommendation and they will have a look. If you're not quite good enough for City, City's got a fantastic track record of helping kids who are not quite good enough for City to find other opportunities. Really, really good at it.
And there's always that opportunity. If you do find your level, it might be a slower level, Jimmy. They may come back to go, they have developed at that.
Absolutely.
Is that correct? So you keep a track on them, right, Jim?
Absolutely, Rich, because what we spoke about earlier, you could be an amazing player at 12 years of age. At 14 years of age, you may level off, and stagnate for a little bit, but then at 16 you could have a real development period and kick on. There's players who've played non-league. I mean, everyone knows about Jamie Vardy, Leicester. He was playing non-league, and look at him, top goal scorer in Premier League and everything. So yeah, absolutely, everybody develops at different times and different rates. So it's all about development for me. And you could be the best at 10 and not the best at 11, or you could be not the best at 11 but the best at 14. So it's all about development.
As a coach and as a scout, Jim, do you think you've got to have talent, of course, and dedication and commitment? Do you think that playing that minutes on the field, Etihad, you bought up Vardy, he was playing for Stockbridge Park Steelers in the Northern Counties League. The rest is history. Do you think for a player, would your advice be to a player, find a level, play, you will develop to a set degree? Do you advise that, Jim? Go play.
Yeah, you've got to play, Rich. Yeah, you've got to play. You've got to put the hours in. All kids and all players. You've got to You've got to be able to play. You've got to find somewhere where you can play. And then, obviously coaching has a lot to do with it as well. If you can find a coach that you like, that is going to develop you, then you've hit the jackpot. Stay there. If you're developing somewhere as a player, it doesn't mean you have to be at the best academy. You could be playing grassroots, Rich, as well. If you're developing as a player and you're playing and your coach is helping you develop, then stay there. Keep on developing.
And you'll find them, Jimmy, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, that's what scouts do, don't they? Scouts everywhere. You can go. I mean, one of the things that I always say to players is you never, ever know who's watching your game. You just don't. I can tell you a quick story. So I got invited up to Stoke City a number of years ago by a guy who was academy manager, I think, at Stoke, or head of recruitment at Stoke Academy a while ago, and it was a game that was arranged. I think it was maybe under 18 at the time, Rich, and they were looking at some players. Stoke, I think they were looking at a player from Portugal and a player from France. So they arranged the game, and they asked us to, because obviously I was doing Galacticos Academy at the time, but they asked us to give them a player, to play for the opposing team, against the setup of Stoke. So we did, and when we got there, I went up with my son, who was, I think he was 14 or 15 at the time, and when we got there to just watch the game, one of the guys from Stoke approached me and said, "Listen, we're having a bit of trouble here in terms of, I don't know, I think there was." The minibus had maybe broken down on the motorway or something had happened, but he said, "Would your son be able to get a pair of boots on and play?" So I said, "Well, he's 14, whatever it is, he's 14, close to 15, but I'm sure he'll help out." So anyway, he played. On the sidelines was somebody from Sporting Lisbon. Next minute, after the game, they've come to me, approached me and said, "Is that your son? He's a lot younger than the other kids. Would you come to Sporting Lisbon?" Now, crazy. That's a true story.
Yeah,
so I ended up going with Sporting Lisbon.
Brilliant.
Now, that's why I always say to players, every time you take the field, give 110%. Every training session, every time you're playing football, because you never, ever know who's watching.
That's a great story, Jimmy. And at some stage, I need a Sporting Lisbon signed shirt off you, mate. I need to redo that.
Yeah, fantastic academy, by the way.
I'm sure it is. Nice part as well. Lisbon's not too bad, and obviously they got Benfica, so there's good rivalry there. Jim, talking about getting these kids over to whether there is talent ID camps here in the US or Canada or wherever. What if we got over there and we've got the kids getting good coaching, what's the culture look like? What is there for just to see a little bit of culture, Jim, outside of football, and touch it, taste it, breathe it. What's it look like in Liverpool or even Manchester, Jimmy?
Well, football crazy cities, obviously. Liverpool, if you're born in Liverpool, you're either a red or a blue, so you either support Liverpool or Everton. Thankfully, my dad was a Liverpool supporter, so I'm a red. And in Manchester, it's the same. Manchester, you either support United or City. That's the city. The two cities are crazy on football. I mean, everybody's crazy on football in both cities. You could probably speak to anybody in the street, in a bar, walking around. You're in it. As soon as you come into either city, it's a massive passion, Rich, about football. The games, no matter what level you're playing, you'll really enjoy it, because everybody loves playing football. There's the Liverpool and Everton's ground, obviously, just across Stanley Park. That's how close they are. So whatever level you play at, whether you play grassroots level, local club level, whether you play academy level, when you come over, it's an incredible experience. You really do get to understand the passion about football, and going games, and go and watch Liverpool or Manchester City, United, Everton, all the clubs really. To be honest, the atmosphere is It's fantastic.
I've witnessed it. I'm just trying to create that touch it,
we
taste it feeling.
yeah
So,
that obviously that was Everton's ground. We took a Hungarian group there a number of years ago, and I can't remember, it was Everton against Watford, and Everton were getting played off the park, I think, at the time. And we were right in that right-hand corner there. It must have been about 35 of us. And Everton came back and scored 2 goals late on. I think they actually might have even went on to win the game. If they didn't win the game, they drew it. Well, it was bouncing, Rich. The Hungarian, kids and parents couldn't believe it. They thought it was madness, because you'll know, Rich, the atmosphere is electric. And the culture around football, the bars, the fan parks, the lot. It's an amazing experience.
So you could walk in the city of Liverpool. Well, most cities, to be honest with you, in the UK, you could walk around in the city of Liverpool or Manchester, and you just mention a bit of footy to someone, and you're off and away, right, Jim?
Yeah, that's it, Rich. Yeah.
Religious.
It is a religion, Rich. You'll know. And the good thing about I think Manchester and Liverpool is that, you know what, there's Liverpool and Everton in our city, and you've got United and City in Manchester, but the rivalry's great. There's no animosity in terms of that. There's a bit of banter. You pull each other's leg. Blues and Reds mix, in our city as they do in Manchester. So yeah, it's a religion.
And that could be in the same household, Jimmy, right? You could be a red or a blue in City or in City, United, Liverpool, Everton. You could be a red or a blue in the same housemate, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you definitely, you get that a lot. And Chris and I, obviously we run Pro Soccer Global. We're the 2 directors. He's a blue nose. He supports Everton, and I'm a Liverpool supporter. So there you go. And we work with each other.
So, mate, I'm Derby. My connection, Derby Forest. So that's
oh, good.
You know about it anyway. Yeah. That rivalry. So
brilliant academy. Derby's academy is beautiful, lovely.
I worked at the Forest Academy, and they've got a good reputation of
they have
as well. So I was very fortunate with that. There was no love lost with me working at Forest in the academy and being a Derby fan, mate. Jim, I'm going to move on that one, mate. So this cultural aspect that the kids can get over there, I know I've spoke with you at length in, the adults, Jimmy, that want to come over, experience it. What's it like in around Liverpool and Manchester, maybe taking a game, and obviously the traditional fish and chips in a pub, and look at the dock areas and the development of the cities. Is we've spoken about getting some adults over there, maybe college and beyond, and having that experience. Jim, what would it look like if, let's say, I brought a crew over, some lads and lasses, and brought a crew over, Jim? What could you offer me and my friends, mate?
Well, everything, Rich, really, to be honest. Everything, depends what you want. If you want everything based around football and, a bit of the culture as well, with amazing cities, obviously, I know Liverpool's an amazing city to visit, get some pickup games, whatever level you are, you can do 5-a-side, you can do 7-a-side, 11-a-side, so you can do some pickup games, against a similar level, and then, do a stadium tour, go and see United Stadium, Liverpool's, Etihad, whatever you want to do. You've got the football museum, the National Football Museum, again, amazing experience going around there, the history of football, and then go and pick up a Premier League game, because you'll never experience anything like it. And then you've got, it's not just the Premier League though as well, Rich. You've got lower level as well. You've got Championship, League One, League Two, and then you've got semi-pro. Now go and watch a semi-pro game, because that is a culture. And it genuinely is. A Sunday morning going to watch a really good amateur game is a brilliant experience. It really is. And then obviously you've got everything else, that the city can offer, especially Liverpool, music, the Beatles, probably don't need to mention too much about the Beatles, probably the most well-known band in the world. And obviously the city itself, it's a beautiful city, Liverpool. It really is, the docks and everything else. And you know what, Rich, the main thing for me about the city is they're the friendliest people in the world. They really are. Once you come to Liverpool, you'll always want to come back to Liverpool. Every group that we've had over to Liverpool from all over the world become adopted Scousers, and that's what we say, because they absolutely love it. So yeah, it'd be an amazing experience.
I know I've visited Liverpool several times, and Manchester's a pretty cool place
It's the same.
as well. And
yeah, it is absolutely
evolving city.
Yeah,
and I know there's no love lost, Jimmy, but you know, at the end of the day, the football supporting family sort of do anything for anyone, right?
Yeah, oh, absolutely, Rich. Yeah, listen, you know what? There's a rivalry between the clubs, and there always is, and it's great to have that. But you know what? It doesn't step over the mark, Rich. It's always good-natured. You know what? And it's just quite like you know, if your club loses a derby, then you know you hide a little bit. That's all we do.
I've been there, Jim. So, yeah. And on the recommendation as well, you know, those lower level, you know, maybe the heart and soul of the game, you know, Salt City or shooting across a little bit, you know,
pint,
watch a Wigan game or something along those lines, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. Pint at a you know, a non-league game, and the atmosphere. I tell you what, there's nothing like it. And then obviously you've got the Premier League, which is nothing like that as well.
When I go back, I've got my Ilkeston Town top on today.
Good club.
Obviously, it's in Derbyshire. My dad used to play for Ilkeston Town, but just after the war, Second World War, in the 1940s. He's a little bit of a left-wing legend there. So I always go and watch those lower level games.
Well,
so much fun for about 10 quid, mate.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? Probably you can go and watch Prescott Cables if you come to Liverpool. One of the oldest clubs in the world, Rich. I think they're one of the oldest amateur clubs. Prescott Cables, I'm sure they are. It's in Liverpool.
I think, and you've got families there, you know, mums and dads going there that have just supported Prescott or those
all the life,
like Ilkeston. And they'll watch telly to catch the big results, Jimmy, but they've been to watch Prescott or Stocksbridge Steels, mate.
Absolutely, Hey, and you see a good game and enjoy it.
Heart and soul. I'll tell you what I do. I've done it already, mate. I'm going to bug you, Jim, and I'm going to bug Chris as well. And let's see if we can get a group of lads and lasses over to Liverpool and Manchester. Come and see you, and you can show us everything you've got, Jimmy. How does that sound to you?
You know what, Rich? You know what we're like in terms of, you know, we do the tours for teams. We do our talent ID camp as well, you know, and bring teams over. We do tours right across the age groups, you know, from 10 upwards, you know, male and female. And we'd love to have like some groups over, Rich, you know, what you're talking about. Definitely.
That's brilliant. So if I've got a group of players and, you know, everybody's not going to be as talented as me, Jimmy. I'm not a cross between Pele and Ronaldo, you know what I mean, mate? But, you know, those you know, lower level players, can we get those in as well, mate? Or can we get the bench on the field, mate?
Yeah, I'm sure we will. Yeah. We'll organise it, Rich. You know what? We'll make sure the game's at the right level and let them immerse themselves in the football culture. Yeah, definitely.
I love it. Live it, breathe it, touch it, taste it, Jimmy. Listen, mate, I want to thank you for your time. Fantastic insight into you know, the scouting mechanics of City and how that works and what you're doing for the youth out there. And with Pro Soccer Global, my friend, I'm going to get a bunch of adults to come over there, and I might have to be in the vets team, but I'm, you know, still talented, Jim.
Yeah, you'd be with me in the vets.
Let you go. I'm probably more in the antique league now than the vets, mate. I think I'd be on vets, but hey, me and you'll be all right. Right back, and left back, Jimmy. I want to say, Jim, thank you. Absolutely a pleasure to chat with you today and share what we've spoken about and our beliefs, you know, with Inside the Game. But I can't let you go, mate, until we've done a quick 5 questions. Okay. We might not be friends after this, but this is your call, Jim, because I've got you a couple of belters and a couple of calls.
Okay, so, go on.
All right, I'm going to start off with a. Yeah, it's okay. All right, you're Liverpool fan. I know that. So I have to ask you the question: who is your favourite Everton player of all time?
Oh God. Gascoigne.
Yeah, I'll give you that one. Do you know what, mate? Brilliant. You've just educated me there. Unbelievable. Yeah, he wasn't bad. He wasn't bad. Top
I mean,
player.
he probably wasn't at the level then.
So you work for...
Go on. Sorry.
No, but yeah, I'll put the whole package deal together. Good choice, mate. Top man. You get my vote for that one as well. I know you work for City. So who, you know what's coming. Who's your favourite United player of all time, mate?
Cantona.
Yeah, they got. Remember the chip goal he scored, and he's just
had an aura, didn't he, Rich? He had an aura. You know, he went on the pitch and said, "This is my pitch." You know, so
yeah. He had an edge. He had an edge and a leader. Great choice.
Yeah.
On your travels, and I know you've been to Hungary, and on your travels, it's a food question. I was trying and tweak mine anyway. Have you ever been offered a dish, plate of food, and gone, oh, I don't know if I fancy that, and you've actually tried it and gone, that's all right, actually, I'll recommend that. You ever been down that road, Jim?
Yeah, probably in a few countries. When I went to China and Africa, you know, when we went to Africa, obviously we've got you know, we self-fund a small charity over there, you know, to help kids who live in poverty. Brilliant. You know, through football, you know, so that's what we do, ProSoccerGlobal. So yeah, I've been to Africa a couple of times, and I had a Ghanaian traditional dish of tilapia. And I wasn't sure. It was probably more about the fiery sauce that was going to be on it. But yeah, hey, and the way they cooked it as well, I was like, oh God, you know what? Am I going to be okay? But it was beautiful. So yeah, in Ghana.
Nice surprise in the cuisine there, top man. Listen, outside, I know there's loads of places in Liverpool and Manchester. If somebody was coming over and to meet up with you, Jim, and just watch a game of football, would there be one place in particular say, look, you've got to visit this place, whether it be cultural, historical, or music, or something along those lines, Jim? Where would you take, like, you know, a special guest?
If it was like an older group, you know, i.e., you know, not my age, but you know, in the 20s or 30s or 40s, I'd probably definitely take them the Cavern, you know, in Liverpool, you know.
All right.
Yeah, let them watch a band, you know, Beatles. I mean, it's an amazing experience, you know, because actually that's where the Beatles played. I don't know how many times. So, right. Yeah, a younger group, you know, an actual younger football group, I would probably take them to the best stadium in the world, Anfield.
I'll leave it to that. That's a good experience anyway. Jim, my last one. Of all the players up and coming across the planet at the moment, many of them are named, whatever nationality they are. Who tickles your fancy, Jimmy? Who's like, you mentioned Dembele earlier, I get that. Who tickles your fancy right now? Want to watch, mate?
Well, there's two players, and I'm going to say two because obviously both clubs, and there probably won't be new names neither, but I think Phil Foden's amazing, genuinely. I think he's an absolutely unbelievable talent, and he's proven it now, you know, with City. And I think in the next few years, he's going to be one of the best players in the world for me. He's got a bit of everything. And also, I think Curtis Jones for Liverpool has got all the ability in the world for a 20-year-old kid to come into a team this season who isn't doing as well as last season. He did play a bit last season, but he's a real talent. So, you know, I think, you know, English football has got two absolute brilliant young players on their hands there, and I think they're going to go on and do really, really well on the world stage.
And they're both in the right environment to flourish there, Jimmy. So thank you for your time. Thank you. Just a quick one on next week's show. We are on home turf with my good friend Marabelia Avalos, who runs the Soccer Academy over here, and works with the is the founder of the MassFit community here, which is an excellent health and fitness facility. So we will see her next week. Jim, thank you. I'm going to sign off, but I can't let you go. Would you leave a final word for all our viewers and followers, Jimmy? And cheers, mate.
Yeah. Right. Well, thanks for listening. If you want to know anything about what Pro Soccer Global do, just check us out at ProSoccerGlobal.com. And last words are just keep on enjoying the beautiful game and stay safe. Bye-bye, everyone.
Come on, let me see your hands in the air.